Hi, this is Stephanie Anderson with the Main Health Show, and today you don't want to miss. We're going to be talking about a great volunteer organization that donates beautiful wigs to children with hair loss. You don't want to miss it. Hello, my name is Stephanie Anderson, and welcome to the Main Health Show. Today's guest is Jeffrey Paul of Wigs for Kids. He is someone that I respect because of the tireless work that he does for the youngest of those with hair loss. Jeffrey Paul's career has spanned the last 40 years, taking him from the runways of Milan to Paramount Pictures and Warner Brothers Studios. Hair replacement and restoration came into focus for Jeffrey when his niece, a leukemia patient, asked for his help. In the process, he discovered his life's mission to serve the physical and emotional needs of individuals who have been scarred by disease, injury, and trauma. He is the founder of Hair Loss University, Jeffrey Paul's hair and scalp specialist, as well as the founder with his wife Zena of Wigs for Kids, a national nonprofit organization that provides custom-made hair replacement systems at no cost to children losing their hair due to medical reasons. Jeffrey is also the author of 2 books, Women's Hair Solutions to Thinning and Loss for Consumers, and Solutions for Women's Hair Thinning and Loss for Professionals. Hi, Jeffrey. Thanks for being my guest.
First of all, Stephanie, I'd like to thank you for the invitation to be able to share about Wigs for Kids. And I thank you because I've watched some of your videos and you have such a sensitive heart and care. I just really want to thank you for this opportunity to be with you.
Jeffrey, as the founder of Wigs for Kids, what was your inspiration to establish this organization?
Well, there's a lot of inspiration that started me and my wife working in this nonprofit organization. But let me take you to the real story, the real substance of the spark of inspiration that took place. I was a celebrity hairdresser traveling all over the world, doing runway models from Milan, Italy to New York City. And I was thrilled. I was at the top of my career, driving a Corvette, living in a penthouse. And it was just the life of what everything a lot of hairdressers wish they could have. I was working with people like the President of the United States to celebrities on TV and even movies. And one day in my 6,000 square foot spa, 40 years ago, my little niece runs in and she's crying and says, "Uncle Jeff, don't let me go without my hair." Those words were the absolute change of my life. It was a transformation, not at that moment, but it would be the staircase of what created Wigs for Kids. Let me share what happened next. I didn't know what she was talking about. And when I asked her, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "I'm going to lose my hair. I have," and she tried to pronounce leukemia. She was only very, very young. And her father came around the corner and said, "She's been diagnosed at the Cleveland Clinic with leukemia. But the good news is there's a brand new drug out that could help her. And it was called chemotherapy. But it came with a side effect." And she sprouted up, "Uncle Jeff, promise me." And I said, "Laura, I'll promise you, you won't go without hair." And she said, "But you don't understand. I have to be in a gymnastic competition and I want to look like myself." I promised her. Well, when you promise a child something, you must keep it in my book. But the reality, I didn't know what I was promising. 40 years ago, there was no children's wigs. There was no element of attachment, and especially for a child's size, it was very difficult to have that done. But I put together, thank God, some beautiful people that helped me with my background and with their background, and we put together the hairpiece for her. But it was ready the day before her event. We got it cut in and she was running all over the salon. It was a little Dorothy Hamill cut that made her hair spin whenever she would move. And it was just absolutely exciting. But we're sitting in the room in the salon saying, what happens tomorrow if she is doing all these apparatuses and these exercises and she ends up losing her hairpiece? What an embarrassment with the gym filled with people. What would it do to her? Well, we were there the next morning, my wife and I, and she goes through all the apparatus and it stays on until the very last event where she's got to run down the mat, hit the tramp, and over a horse. And she looks at me right from eyeball to eyeball the floor, and she's just stops my heart. She stops my mind. I just remember the moment as I'm speaking it right now. I saw her going through the motions, but I was absolutely almost an out of body experience because I just couldn't believe what was happening. She hit the tramp. She goes over the horse. She comes down and slaps her both sides of her hips, and she gives me a thumbs up. I'm crying like a little baby, and I hear God's voice say, "Now I'm going to take the talent I've given you, making beautiful people beautiful, and I'm going to make you one that will make people beautiful inside and out." Well, that was the inspiration, not knowing what was coming next, but that was the beginning. Not the only wig or first wig that I was going to make, but the first of many. In fact, I'll share with you in later interview questions in regards to how many we have had to be able to provide over the 40 years of Wigs for Kids, serving children all over the North and America that have really needed hair completely free.
Please share some of the services you and volunteers provide to the children seeking assistance.
Well, we serve hundreds and hundreds of children every year, and that takes a lot into it. I think you'll hear me probably say so many times, partnership, 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 because it really takes more than a city to raise up a child and put a wig on its head for free, because the wigs that we make are virtually hair that has come off of some beautiful donors, men and women, gray hair, long hair that people have grown for Wigs for Kids and donated it, almost like an organ that they've donated it to people, to Wigs for Kids, so that we could take that part of it and then we can take it to our factory and we can hand tie each one of those hairs into a specially designed prosthetic cap and wig for that child, so that that child can live their life and look themselves with a smile and great self-esteem. Well, that takes the hair donors to grow their hair and to grow their hair longer and to provide for us. It takes the financial donors to provide the relationship of the abilities for us to have the finance to be able to manufacture, to administrate, to do all the things that we do, and to provide the products and the brushes and everything else that we also provide the child with, because that wig would cost them $5,000 to $6,000 if they could even find a virgin head of hair wig, which is virtually impossible. And we are able to provide that, again, 100% free. But then we need, before that child even receives it, is the stylist who has now not only cut the hair ponytail and given that ability for us to have healthy hair, it's bound right, it's bound correctly, but in turn, their impact of their life has been changed as well, watching somebody donate something like that. Then we have the stylist has gone the next step to be certified and to be able to measure and to fit the child and pick the color selection for the wig, and then to deliver that, to cut it in on them, and then to teach them how to take care of it. Those are so important. And then all of the other volunteer administrators that open the mail, that watch over our social media. I mean, it takes a whole lot more than I could ever imagine when we first started out with that little wig for Laura Hody that we did my niece.
Now, hair loss can be devastating for adults. How has your nonprofit helped to restore the self-esteem, confidence, and hope in the children that you've helped?
Well, to that question, Stephanie, I really have an incredible kind of quote or thought that I want you to think about as I share the answer to that. The reality is that many times people think their hair is attached to the scalp, to the papilla, to whatever. And the anatomy of hair is probably very well documented. But I have a different anatomy and belief. It is that hair is not attached only to the follicle, to the scalp. It is attached to the self-esteem, to the inner heart, and to the inner mirror. And when a child loses their hair, that mirror gets broken. And when that mirror gets broken, it could be devastating for life. It would tear their self-esteem down, and it can just alter the potential of their destiny. And I don't want to sound dramatic, but I do, because it truly, I've seen time after time after time, when we're able to put that hair on that child's head, and they look into the mirror when you turn around, and that smile explodes on their face. It's not just the smile with the white teeth, but it's the smile from the heart and the self-esteem that is relived, it's reborn, it's renewed. And if you knew the stories of all the kids over the 40 years that have gone from the 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds all the way through school and then to college and then their careers and their marriages, and now they're raising children and being leaders in their community. It's amazing to think what that story would have been like without Wigs for Kids and all of their donors and all of their volunteers and all of their supporters. It would have been a sad 40 years of thousands and thousands of children that have not had that destiny, not had that self-esteem. So it really does have an incredible devastation when they lose their hair, but it's an incredible transformation when they receive their hair.
Did you know in 1981, fast forwarding 40 plus years later, the impact that your organization would have with the children, their families, and the volunteer beauty professionals?
I'll tell you, when we first started, as I told you the story earlier, I was only going to do one wig. That was for my niece. And I would go back to the celebrities, and I'd go back to the runways, and I would go back to all the things that I was doing. And it was a transformation for me, because the reality was that there was so much more impact, but I had no idea. I mean, it's like, I had no idea that now, 40 years later, as we celebrated this year, our 40th year anniversary of being a nonprofit organization and serving children for free for 40 years, and stylists, thousands of stylists all over the United States, and always needing more of them, and hundreds of thousands of ponytails, and we still need more of them to continue to go. Did I think that it would be this big and this much and that much of an impact on the families? Well, Stephanie, it's amazing that when we had our 40th anniversary, we started trying to count, because we didn't keep records. We just kept delivering wigs over the years. But as we went through our records and went through some of the evaluations, we found that we've touched over 10,000 children and families and individuals in the relationship of hair loss through Wigs for Kids. And so it really, really has overwhelmed me in the aspect of joy, and overwhelmed me in celebration. And I step back and say, oh God, how did I get so blessed to be able to be in the position to help so many? And I always hear that little voice say, it takes so many to help you help them. So I hope that answers the question, but it really is what I never expected, which is what it is today, and God willing would be tomorrow and continue to be.
Now, what is the recipient program and the process for family who has a child who is in need of a cranial prosthetic and would like to receive one? From the application approval to the delivery, the fitting and styling. Can you explain that?
Well, the beginning journey, or what I call the hair restoration journey for a family, is they first go on to wigsforkids.org, right onto our website. In fact, our new website that we have. And I need a wig. They seek the little tab, and they go through the filling out of their information, and they need to get some of the things like a doctor's prescription that says that they have lost their hair from a medical or natural loss. They go from that point to sending us a couple of other documents, and they immediately go into the process. They also seek out on our locator, right on our website, a salon that has a person who has been trained and certified, and they go through the process of contacting them, and we do the same. And then they're accepted. We don't turn anyone away. We continue, don't look at their W-2 forms. We look at their only need in our consideration is that they have hair loss. And then when they go to their salon, they get fitted, because we send to the family a whole fitting cap system. We send them the measurements, the documents. The stylist has already gone through the training of that. So they come in, they go through the measurement, the selection of hair colors and everything else. It goes back to our offices. We go to the process of getting the hair and sending it to the factory and getting it ventilated. And ventilated means hand tied and manufactured. Then we send it off to the family. They get all excited. They open their box, and inside their box, there's products and brushes and sometimes some presents and wonderful things to keep them educated, and a whole booklet. We let them know about our YouTube channel that continually adds to their knowledge of self-esteem, motivation, beauty tips, how to look great at your prom, all those type of things that we do on our YouTube, our Wigs for Kids YouTube channel. And then they go to the stylist, and that's the day of beauty, the makeover beauty, and that's the day of the turning around in the mirror and the bright smile and the transformation of the child and the parents and the stylist. And it's a real celebration. And then we continue to keep in contact with them through the YouTube channel, but also trying to find the day that they'll be able to come back and help, whether it's interviewing them, telling their story, being a donor, or creating a fundraiser to help other kids and pass it forward, so to say.
Now, there are different levels of participation for beauty professionals. Can you explain the hair donation specialist and the certified service provider programs?
Well, we've just changed the name of our two stylist identities in our program of Wigs for Kids. The one is donation specialists. Those are stylists that watch a very short video to be able to learn how to section the head correctly to capture and harvest the maximum amount of length that the donor is willing to give. The binding of it, the preparation of wrapping it in tissue paper and getting it to us so that it is able to be used. And I've said that a couple of times in this interview. It is possible that if it's not done correctly and it gets scrambled up, or it's moist, or it's not done correctly, number one, it can't be used. And what a loss that would be, both to the donor that's given that part of their body, but also to the relationship of the child that could have gotten that hair. Number two is the relationship of that hair is so valuable, and the impressions that it makes upon the stylist of, cutting hair every day, making people smile and look good, but making that knowledge that's going there. The other part of it is knowing how to section, because if you pull all that hair in the back of a ponytail and cut it off, as typically many people would do, that hair from here to here will end up on the ground or on the floor when they get a haircut. And we could have used that valuable 1 inch or 2 inches more. So we've created a sectioning process to the finished style that client would want, that donor would want. And we teach that in our education. Now, we've partnered with Wigs for Kids and my other organization, which was the Professional Hair Loss University, because we're continually educating the professional, not only on cutting ponytails, but to the next level of hair replacement, which is the next organization title that we have is, and I'm going to look down at my notes if I remember it correctly, Certified Service Provider. Used to be called our affiliate, certified affiliate. But in turn, that person goes through a series of modules of how to consult, the psychological effect that they have on the child, and the child has as they share their story and they share their desires, and how to do that, how to fit the caps, how to measure the head, how to cut the hairpiece, and then how to teach the child how to take care of that hairpiece, because $5,000 or $6,000, you don't want to just throw it in the washing machine and have it washed and ruined. But in turn, we have an ongoing training program for both of those stylists now, that we will continue to advance their career that they're in already, and their ability to provide this support and this service for Wigs for Kids and our children and recipients who go to them, but also if they want to advance into the hair replacement industry, to service even adults. So we've expanded now with the partnership of Wigs for Kids and the Hair Loss University, an ability for stylists to not only be incredible givers, incredible, providers of service of their talents and volunteers to Wigs for Kids, but also to help their career be advanced. If this really throws a new career light of their desires to be able to be beyond what their licensing and their original training has given them, which is cosmetologists or barbers. Now they can go to the next level in the hair replacement or extensions or the other things that we teach at the university.
Now, Jeffrey, what is your advice? What advice would you give to someone who would like to donate their hair through Wigs for Kids?
Well, the advice I would give to anybody who wants to donate their hair, of course, go to our Wigs for Kids, all letters, wigsforkids.org, O-R-G, and donate hair. There's a little tab, you can go donate hair. And the issue is that there's knowledge, there's videos on how to take care of your hair. There's going to be continual videos on updating. There's a community, a Facebook community for Wigs for Kids, that you can hear of all the people that donated their hair, that are growing their hair, that are doing fundraisers for their, they're growing. But here's the biggest thing that I would request: keep growing it. Keep taking care of it and keep growing it. The longer you can give it to us for, the more important. People say, well, Jeff, I have a little color in my hair. Understand that virgin hair, when you're processing and going through the process of tying a hairpiece, if there is any cuticle treatment that has been done to a hair, when it goes into a hairpiece, it will become like Velcro. Yes, it will. The cuticle is in reverse process and will become like Velcro, knotted up and all dreadlocked. And a child would go from one day looking beautiful into the next day, after they shampooed it, into just an absolute unwearable hairpiece. Nobody really understands that, because there's organizations that take colored hair. I don't know what they do with it, because you cannot put colored hair into a hairpiece. The other thing is, when you're hand tying, you have to have two ends. When you tie, just like a shoes, you have a short end and a long end. This is called a return. The short end has to be, for us, the quality that we work with, 4 inches, so that it fades away, so they don't have a bunch of short ends sticking all out of the place. And that 4 inches is not the length. Then we measure the length. So to give a child a 14-inch length, to give them that beautiful hair that comes right where they always point. I want my hair to be here, like all my girlfriends have, and I can pull my hair in a high ponytail, and I can do all those things. It has to be 14 inches plus 4 inches. That's 18 inches. So think how valuable it is if you take care of your hair, grow your hair. And if you're, wondering what you do in the interim, throw a fundraiser. Go online, throw a fundraiser, or go right on our website. You can go right onto our website and go to Donor Drive, and we'll give you all the tools to motivate and inspire people to donate towards your ponytail providing. And when you register, you get a barcode. The barcode identifies you and your hair. So as the time goes on, when your hair comes to the office, and with that barcode, you are going to receive a thank you and a certificate. And absolutely, in the future, you'll be able to hear some of the stories on the community page of Facebook on what it means for these children to receive your hair. It's just absolutely incredible. Those are the best stories that you can imagine.
Now, I have been fortunate to become certified as a hair donation specialist at Trinity Lace Wigs, as a certified service provider. And it has been such a great experience to assist those donors who have grown their hair out for the purpose of donation to such a great cause. And we're also gearing up for a cut-a-thon and the 10,000 Hearts campaign. So can you explain to the audience, what is the 10,000 Hearts campaign?
Well, in our 40th year, as we started to do, as I said a little earlier, when we started to do all the tallying of how many kids, because everybody asks, how many kids do you do? We know we do 400 or 500 a year, and we know that there's bigger years and some years that are a little bit lighter, but we know that over 40 years, we were, like I said, we weren't really counting, we were just doing. And so when we started going through all the files and all the things that went through and all the articles that we'd had, it was amazing, because we really tallied up almost 10,000 kids and their families that we had touched in the impact of Wigs for Kids. Not counting the stylists and the donors and all those other wonderful, wonderful impact. Well, we said, what can we do for a fundraiser for the whole year of our 40th year? We came up with, Jeannie came up with, one of our fundraisers came up and said, let's do a 10,000 hearts. This is about the heart. You always talk about the heart, Jeff. Let's talk about the heart. 10,000 hearts, and we'll get hearts, little pieces of paper with hearts on them, and we will have people donate. And the salons especially have taken on this campaign and put them all through their salon and made walls, and they've had just incredible displays of affection. And people donate, and each and every one of those go into the funding of Wigs for Kids children that have need for a hair system at this caliber, this value, this type of security and prosthetic, so that they can live their lives and live themselves. So The 10,000 Hearts continues on. We're really excited. In fact, June 11th, we've got a pretty exciting year. This is the first time I think I've talked about it publicly. June 11th, we'll be doing a live stream and a live event that will be talking about inspiration, health, and wellness. And we will be having national speakers and authors and kids and fashion show and an incredible day of 3 hours of just unbelievable experience. And it'll be a day of challenge, ponytail challenge all over the country, including right in Cleveland, Ohio at Crocker Park, where we'll be doing this event. But it'll be live streamed so you can watch it and participate in either getting your hair donated that day or donate for, the Wigs for Kids 10,000 Hearts or anything else that comes to your mind. But we'll give you more information on our website, wigsforkids.org. Again, all letters, wigsforkids.org. Hope that you join us, because June 11th, Stephanie, I hope that you could be with us on that day. That would be a precious gift to us to be able to share further in the storytelling of Wigs for Kids that you've given us the opportunity to do.
Okay, so Jeffrey, I'm sure that someone is going to want to find out more information and contact you. Is there a general website or contact information for those families or stylists that may have additional questions that you can share?
Well, I, again, appreciate, Stephanie, every bit of the opportunity for me to just go on. You notice don't have a lot of words to talk, or not a lot to say, LOL. But in turn, I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. And so are all the stylists, and so are the donors, and so are all the volunteers, and all my staff at the headquarters. I'd like to go through the list of their names, but I'm not going to do that. But in turn, if your listeners right now have been inspired, motivated, or enlightened, and they want more enlightenment, or they want to get in the game with us and really become a partner with us, whether you're a stylist, whether you're a hair donor, whether you're a fundraiser, whether you're just a kid with a lemonade stand, or whatever it is, go on our website, wigsforkids.org, and join us. Adopt a child. You can actually adopt and help us sponsor a child. You can be the donor that makes the impact of a child's life with that. You can be the stylist that gets the reward of just the incredible looking in the mirror and seeing the change and transformation. But we need you. We really need each and every one of you in every possible way. And I just hope you also don't miss our June 11th celebration of inspiration, live event and live stream event. It's free, and there will be inspiration, there will be fashion, there will be, just stories that will take your heart and lift it up into the 10,000 hearts that we're seeking. So again, Stephanie, thank you for all that you've given me the opportunity to share. Thank you for what you do. I'm honored and I'm blessed, and I thank God for the ability to be able to do what I do and love what I do. Thank you.
Jeffrey, thank you for your continued service and your great nonprofit that have touched so many lives of children and their families, and also having a platform for donors to give and for us stylists and hair loss professionals to serve as volunteers. I was so excited to be able to visit with you today, as I know this phenomenal work you and your team are doing. Now, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today's show. This is Stephanie Anderson, and thank you for watching The Main Health Show. Be blessed.